This module provides an overview of the ISO 50001 International Standard for Energy Management Systems. Many organizations think of ISO as a certification process. Actually, it's not. The aim of ISO 50001 is to improve performance, not simply to achieve conformance. Certification usually follows the implementation of the ISO 50001 standard. But in fact, you don't need to certify at all. You can self-declare conformance to the standard. And in this module, you will gain an appreciation of the contents and benefits delivered by the standard. Established in 1947, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, is the world's largest standards development organization. It's published more than 18,500 international standards for professionals in agriculture, construction, medical equipment, information technology, and so on. The acronym ISO was derived from the Greek isos, meaning equal. And whatever the country, whatever the language, the short form of the organization's name is always ISO or ISO. Within the ISO, each country can only be represented by one National Standards Institute. There are 107 members, 45 correspondent members with the right to observe but no voting rights, and 22 subscriber members, countries with very small economies but who wish to maintain a contact with ISO. The majority of the published ISO standards are specific to a particular product, material or process. However, ISO 9001 in quality management and ISO 14001 environment, as well as ISO 50001 on energy, are generic management systems standards. Generic means that the same standard can be applied to any organization, large or small, whatever its product or service, in any activity sector, whether it's a business enterprise, a public administration, a non-governmental organization, or a government department. And because ISO standards are international, a single harmonized standard can apply across organizations that operate in more than one country. Energy management was originally intended to be incorporated into the ISO 14001 International Standard for Environmental Management. Improved energy performance will always deliver environmental benefits. However, ISO 14001 assessments tended to place too much attention on the negative aspects of energy use. It did not highlight the business positives from energy management, such as cost reductions, productivity gains, and business development through energy performance improvement, as was originally intended. As ISO 14001 matured, concerns about its limitations in the area of energy management grew, and eventually energy management proclaimed its independence from ISO 14001 to become ISO 50001. The beauty of ISO 50001 is that it guides an organization using a systematic approach to continual improvement in energy management. In other words, an approach that's both repeatable and learnable. There are no specific energy performance criteria in ISO 50001. There's no requirement to set quantitative goals. For example, were an organization to target a 10% energy use reduction but achieve only a 5% reduction, that does not mean that there's a non-conformity. And ISO 50001 can be applied to energy use in any organization, large or small. Due to the high demand for an energy management system, ISO 50001 was published just 3.5 years after the initiation of the process. That is significantly quicker than for most ISO publications. Here's a flow chart of the standards passed to publication between February 2008 and June 2011. Within the chart, WD refers to a working document, CD a committee draft, DIS a draft international standard, and FDIS the final draft international standard. The energy management system was advanced in the Council as a new proposal, or NP, by two ISO national members, ABNT of Brazil and ANSI of the USA, and a technical committee, TC 242, was formed in February 2008. Next, the standard was taken through 4 review and comment cycles by TC members before the final draft international standard was forwarded for official publication as an international standard. ISO 50001 guides you to establish a widely recognized framework for integrating energy efficiency into management practices, to promote business development through sustainability, attain strong top management involvement, have top management appoint a representative, you the energy manager, who has the skill and position to take company-wide decisions, have organizations use existing energy consuming facilities more efficiently, thus reducing operational costs and or expanding business capacity, and have a framework that encourages suppliers and customers to manage their energy better, thus promoting energy efficiency throughout the supply chain. Here's the contents for the 30-page ISO 50001 International Standard for Energy Management Systems. The structure is similar to other management standards. Clause 4 provides a guideline description with 7 subsections. Fundamental requirements include establishment of responsibility for energy management, definition of the scope and boundaries of the system, and the creation of an energy policy setting out how it will meet the organization's requirements, the implementation of energy management actions, and continual maintenance and improvement. A key element is documentation. ISO 50001 asks for proper documentation throughout to generate records and evidence of continual energy performance improvement. This conceptual business flow for an energy management system is an excerpt from ISO 50001 2011. The system requires constant performance checks. Reading clockwise, they are monitoring, measurement and analysis, the identification of non-conformities as well as preventive or corrective actions, internal audits and management reviews. Management reviews play an important role in the authorization of actions for continual improvement. ISO 50001 compliance requires establishment of the organization's ISO 50001 guidelines and provisions for energy management, operation of the business using the energy management system, verification of business operations under ISO 50001, verification reports produced for the management review, and proper documentation in accordance with ISO 50001. Fundamental requirements include establishment of management responsibility for energy management, definition of the scope and boundaries of the system together with an energy policy, determination of the energy planning requirements, implementation of system actions, and performance checks and management reviews. As we said earlier, documentation is a key part of the ISO 50001 system to generate records and evidence in pursuit of continual energy performance improvement. The word commit in this diagram refers to the commitment by top management, a critical aspect in moving the ISO 50001 class energy management system forward. ISO 50001 guidelines clearly establish the role of management and the technical roles required for the system. In this diagram you can also see the clause numbers for the technical and management sections. The plan, do, check, act cycle applies to both management and technical aspects. Documentation is key to the success of systemic energy management. Here are the 12 key documents that are required by ISO 50001. The Charter, the documented guidelines and provisions for the operation of energy management systems are the highest level of documentation. The Charter and key management documents should be designed so that all existing procedural documents and records automatically become ISO 50001 class. The heart of ISO 50001 is to thoroughly document the way your organization does things and to ensure the workers actually carry out tasks in the way that was documented. This means that documentation plays the most important role in the ISO 50001 process. Establishing sound documents and the proper control of documents is essential in order to maintain, communicate and further improve the management systems with the involvement of everyone. The guidelines and provisions defined in the Charter document should establish how documents are to be handled and structures and procedures should be defined. ISO 50001 is the consolidation of proven systems from a number of leading countries: China, Denmark, Ireland, Korea, Sweden, Thailand, and the US already had national energy management standards in place before the publication of ISO 50001. In Europe, CEN had also published a regional energy management standard EN 16001-2009 before ISO 50001. The United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, provided preparatory assistance during the development period between 2008 and 2011.